And just a reminder, if you want to know the index of this meeting or get to our big index of all the meetings we've done, if you look in the links down below the video, there's various links posted there. One of these days, I should make up just a video to explain all this, and then at the bottom of the link, it just say, "Go watch this video," and then the end screens, which only about 25% of the time YouTube will let me put. Oh, I shouldn't have said YouTube. They won't let me put those on. They claim that it's wrong aspect ratio or something, even though I do it the same way every time. So that way at the end it would pop up and say, "Oh, go watch. Here's the description of this channel." So that would be something else if I had some extra time on my hands right now, which I don't. Which brings me around the other thing. I'm still in the process of moving. I have to be out of here by next Monday afternoon, and I'm nowhere near ready to move out. So I'm going to be busy for the next few days, and I guess that's all it needs to be said about that. So I guess I'll turn it over to Al.
Okay, let me turn on sharing here. This is a rough layout of, I'm trying to get my electronics board that would go on the side of my lawn tractor. I've got a couple of, so this is what the board looks like mounted on the side of the tractor. This is sort of what I'm thinking as far as the layout goes. I've got certainly enough real estate, I think, to take care of my components. One thing to note is I was thinking about moving to this IBT2 motor controller to drive the steering motor instead of the previous one that I was using. So I don't know if you have any comments or thoughts on whether that would be okay, but my priority at the moment is to get, this is a controller for a linear actuator, and I still need to confirm that my linear actuator is going to be able to control my hydrostatic transmission the way I want it to. So I'm sort of prioritizing getting that. To get that to work, I would need to get the Teensy hooked up, but I also need to get my radios connected up. I haven't put on this board yet where the radios would be, probably up here at the top, so I can accomplish the antennas. These were 2 GPS units to sit up here. So anyway, and this is the Raspberry Pi and the power, guess you call it a buck converter to get from 12 volt down to the 5 amps, 5 volts that it wants. So that's sort of the in process area that I've been. One of the things that I've been able to get done in the last few days is work on my battery. This is for lithium battery packs combined together to make one 16-volt battery that I would run at 12 volts. And so I was working on redesigning how I connected those up. Or got a positive side here and a negative side here, and there's little aluminum tabs that fold over in the middle here on this 1/4-inch square rod, but on the ends I drilled and tapped into this 2-inch aluminum strip, put a vinyl, cut out a piece of vinyl like 1 mil thick to act as a bit of an insulator, and to drill and tap those. I use this combination drill and tap bit that worked out pretty nice. Just so this thing will drill the hole, and then it immediately goes into threading the hole, and then it's also got do you call that a flare on the end to give you a bit of a edge to countersink it. So anyway, I don't think you could do thick steel with that, but for 1/4-inch aluminum, it worked really nice. Let's see, anything else that I posted?
I had a couple comments. Yeah, leave that picture up for a second. You're asking
Yeah,
about my thoughts on that motor driver board. Just keep in mind, whatever motor driver board you pick, the control might be different from one to another. So just, I think you had found some drivers that were specifically for this one. So as long as you get the wires connected right and you're the right driver for it, it should work. And I guess you'll know more when you try it out to see if it responds the same as your original one was. So, but that's just a comment on that you might run into that. The fact that they
yeah,
work a little bit different, but they should in the in the long run they should still work.
the Ag Open GPS guys seem to be positive on this one, so that's sort of why I was gonna, but I don't know if I can control the power with this. So anyway, I have to remind myself how the PWM signals are. Anyway, your points are well taken, and I think you're right. It's going to change some of my programming a little bit, and I may still not be happy with it, but we'll see.
So the other comment was, if you zoom out, you've got that big battery shutoff switch.
Yeah.
And I found that when I went to move my robot to move it to the new apartment, I have a switch that's similar to that. I turned it on and I saw the lights flashed on my robot and then went out. I thought, well, that doesn't seem right. And I thought I because I disconnected. I had an extra 12-volt battery in the series with my RC servo on the front for the steering, and that was just laying on there, and I didn't want to drop it while I was trying to move stuff. So I disconnected that and hooked the wire back up where I thought it should go. So I thought what had happened, I turned the main power switch on. I thought I blew a fuse because I shorted something out. I reconnected it wrong. But when I played with it, turns out the switch itself was just either dirty or whatever. After I wiggled a few
Hmm.
times, it started working again. And so after that, I think it's just the fact that it sat around for so long and the contacts were just simply dirty. Because this is probably,
Interesting.
a high quality switch has like what they call a wiping contacts. So as you open and close, it actually scrapes them against each other and scrapes off the crud. And then you get something. This probably just simply presses like a plate against the two terminals or something and doesn't actually, it's not it doesn't clean
High
itself or anything.
quality.
Yeah. So it just depends on what you're doing there. What was the other part? Oh, so it's back to I had the same problems when I was playing with the e-stop switches, and I was using the one that's very popular on like eBay and Amazon. And Juan said he's using that one, and I was using it, and Al may have been using that one. And if you look, you can see it from the side when you run the switch. You can just see there's the two there's like two wires sticking up in there, and then when you run the switch, there's just a plate that comes down and touches them. So again, you got the same problem that as long as you're doing really high current stuff, that probably doesn't matter. But if you're trying to read that with a logic level, that does become a problem. And then I switched over to those ones I bought from MPJA that were they probably have high quality, gold plated connectors on the switch itself. That I don't think they're rated as high a current, but for trying to just read it with a logic level signal, you get a much better quality switch by doing that. So it's just more things to run into as you buy this stuff, and kind of like the deal with this battery shutoff switch there. It's the same concept on that. If it's not scraping the contacts every time you turn it on and off, eventually it will cause problems like that. And I by just turning it on and off enough times, it seemed to be working again okay. So maybe that's all it really took to fix that.
Nice.
And since I'm talking about things that I ran into, I went through and we did all that backup stuff on Slack. Well, it turns out we did lose some stuff because once they get to the 1 year period and they throw out all the old files, some of the stuff in this program that we're using, uh, let's see, let's
Well, that's too bad. I thought we'd saved everything.
well, we saved it, but partially. Let me pull up. Go here, go here. ROS Agriculture. Start there. And then go to Slack exports. So let me see, how can I do this? Can I click this and then say share screen? And I think it's this one. Yeah, that's the one I want. So let me get this out of my way. So if I open, say if I open the current stuff, the latest stuff we've got, and open it, it comes up looking like this. I scroll down till I find a, well, that this one actually points to a YouTube video, so that one will work. But these all work at the moment. When we get to the old ones, I'll show you where it doesn't work. And here's a picture. And if you click on it, then it brings up an actual picture. You can zoom in on this. You know, it works just like it's supposed to. But what happens is, if you go look at the source code, this is actually pointing to something on Slack. So it's like slackfiles.com or something. Can I see that? You may have to come down here and say, let's see, show page source, view page source, and I'd have to go dig through it here again to see how this works. But when you pull it up, it's actually pointing to something on Slack as opposed to pointing to the local directory that has all the files. So let me blow out of there. And then I come back here. So we go to the old stuff. This is the old original one there's stuff here that is over a year old. And open up random. And we go down and find, this might be one right here. So if we click on this, see, you can, the image is there, you can see it, so you don't lose the context of what's going on, but you click on it. Well, this is pointing to a web page, so that's not what I was looking for. So some of the stuff, if it points to something like points to YouTube or points to some web page, it will still work. Here's an example right here. Here's a little one that just says image.png. If I click on it, it says the requested file could not be found. And that's because, see at the top here, it says files-origin slack.com is where it's pointing to. And since they've deleted all the old, anything over a year old on their website, that means we don't have access to the bigger images anymore, which is inconvenient because this one, it's small enough you can't really read it. Let's see, how can I open link in new tab, open image, new tab. So there it is. And if you try to zoom in on it, you get
bad resolution.
it gets blurry real quick. So you can kind of still make it out. But anyway, I decided that, you know, if a guy had some extra time on his hands right at the moment, you could just pull up the pull up that source code, say view image source, and if I'd run a grep and say anything where it says the what do they call it, slackorigin.com or whatever it was, anytime you find that, make a list of those, and then you can write a little loop that says use wget or whatever the method is. So you could go down and you could grab all these images and just put them in a directory somewhere. So if people needed them someday, with a little extra effort, you could say, here's what the file's called, and then go out to the extra directory and find them. But at the moment, as they say, if you go look at it, you know, it's still everything. It still has the same context here, so you can see what's going on. And here's another example. This one's going to be, it's going to be a GIF, but it's going to do the same thing. It says can't find that because they deleted that stuff on us. So it's really, you could say it's a deficiency.
So only the last 12 months. Do you think they've deleted everything 12 months and older?
Yes, I think that's true. So we have the one problem, you have to do it, you have to check it every 90 days to get this stuff. But then anything that's over a year old, they throw those away completely.
You lose the images.
Yeah. Images and maybe even files. I can't even remember what's included there. But it seems to be a deficiency in the converter. And maybe if I'd go look, maybe somebody's upgraded it. You know, if they figured out that's a problem, they may have upgraded it. And maybe if I just re-download the thing, you know, we could, at least going forward, we could maintain the stuff. So that's just something I ran into a few days ago, and I thought, oh, that doesn't sound right. I thought we had this all figured out, but it turns out we don't. So So let's see, I'm still sharing, right? So let's say stop sharing. Anything else we need to say here? So
I'm all set.
so if I back up. And this particular one is probably pointing to somebody's web page. So if I click on this one, I think it's a GitHub. So yeah, so those still work. It's just if you have probably just if you have an image, or how could I find what kind of file might
12 years ago. Wow, that's ancient history.
what this one. This is another, so there's another image file. And see, it's going to do the same thing. So anyway, yeah, so the context is still there. It's got nice, pretty pictures here. And this is probably pointing to the YouTube that we did. So that one should still work. Here, let me just verify that. And yes, it does. It takes it to the YouTube page. So that works. So, but there's going to be things, and this goes back to the GitHub for ROS Agriculture. So that link will still work. And this one probably is Hackaday. This is going to point to actual Hackaday. This one would still work. That'll still work. But here's another one, just an image. So that image is not going to work. So that's something I ran into, and maybe someday I'll think about that harder, or maybe I should go check to see if they got an update that fixes all this mess. So that's where that's at.
Thanks for going through that. I think I'm all set. You can turn off recording.
Let's see, the lawn track. You said you had that board. You can mount that board vertically on the side of the lawn tractor. Is that what you said you're going to do? Because you might want to
Yes.
have some way to maybe hinge it so you can lay it down. So, because if it's on the side like that, now you're going to have to get down on your hands and knees to try to do anything with it, or take the whole board off. If you've got connectors on everything, maybe you can pull out one connector and then put the board up on the bench and make that work. So that may still be okay, but it just, thinking ahead, yeah, it's nice to have that, say, vertical space there, but that might not be the easiest thing to work on. So that's just one more thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I've tried horizontal and on a hinge, and that was been a pain in the butt. And so I was going to try this vertical thing, but the notion of hinging it is, I can look at what that physically would take.
So I'm just thinking when you go to use it, you just simply lay the thing down flat across the top of the lawn tractor, and it'll be at a convenient height, and everything would still be connected as long as your wires all come around the hinge side. Then whether it's up or down, they should still be connected. So, but you'll find out once you get to put it on there. You'll find out real quick. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. So, just one of those things, I guess. Okay, so I guess I'm done. You done?
I'm done.